The South China Sea is a vital artery of global trade, connecting the Indian and Pacific Oceans. For centuries, its waters have sustained the livelihoods of millions and served as a crossroads for commerce. Rich in fish, oil, and gas, the sea is a prize for the nations that border it. But overlapping claims by China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan have turned it into a zone of persistent tension. In recent years, these disputes have intensified, largely due to China's increasingly assertive actions. Beijing's sweeping claims and military buildup have transformed a regional issue into a global flashpoint. International law, especially UNCLOS, offers a framework for resolving these disputes, but China has rejected key rulings, relying on its own historical narratives and military might. The Philippines, once focused on the southern and western reaches of the sea, is now shifting its defensive gaze northward. This pivot centers on the Luzon Strait, a strategic waterway between the Philippines and Taiwan. Manila's move introduces a new dynamic, challenging Beijing's ambitions and drawing in the attention of the United States and other international partners. In this video, we'll explore why the Philippines is making this shift, how it disrupts China's strategy, and what it means for the region. The stakes are high, not just for Southeast Asia, but for the global order. Let's dive into the latest chapter of this maritime contest. At the heart of China's South China Sea strategy is the 9-dash line, a sweeping claim that covers nearly 90% of the sea. This claim clashes with the exclusive economic zones of neighboring countries and is not recognized under international law. To enforce its position, China has built artificial islands, transforming reefs into military outposts equipped with runways, ports, and missile systems. These fortresses allow China to project power and monitor all activity in the region. Alongside its military buildup, China uses gray zone tactics, deploying Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels to intimidate rivals without open conflict. These forces swarm disputed areas, block access, and assert control, all while avoiding direct confrontation. Beijing's ultimate goal: to turn the South China Sea into a Chinese-controlled zone, securing shipping lanes, resources, and a strategic buffer against rivals. This dominance would push U.S. influence further from China's shores and cement Beijing's role as the region's hegemon. But as China tightens its grip, resistance is growing. The Philippines' new strategy is a direct response to this expanding power. The contest for control is entering a new phase. The Philippines has long focused on internal security and defending its western waters from Chinese encroachment. But now, Manila is pivoting north, fortifying its outposts in the Bashi Channel and Luzon Strait, key gateways between the Philippines and Taiwan. Once remote, islands like Batanes and Mavulis are being transformed into military strongholds. The armed forces of the Philippines are building new bases, upgrading airstrips, and installing advanced surveillance systems. Modern weapons, including BrahMos cruise missiles, are being deployed to create a credible deterrent. Troop numbers and joint exercises with allies, especially the U.S., are increasing. This northern shift signals a new resolve. The Philippines is preparing to defend its frontier and play a more active role in regional security. The Luzon Strait is now at the center of Manila's defense strategy. The Philippines' northern pivot is a calculated response to rising tensions over Taiwan. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province and hasn't ruled out force to achieve unification. Any conflict over Taiwan would likely spill into the Luzon Strait, just 140 kilometers from the Philippines' northernmost islands. Manila's defense planners know that control of this choke point is crucial, both for their own security and for regional stability. By strengthening its northern defenses, the Philippines aims to deter aggression and complicate China's military planning. Chinese naval forces can no longer assume easy passage through the strait. Philippine sensors and missiles now stand guard. This move also deepens the U.S.-Philippines alliance, with American forces gaining access to northern bases under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. These bases are now vital for both Philippine and Allied operations in a crisis. The message to Beijing is clear. Any move in the region will face a coordinated, multinational response. Manila's strategy is about deterrence, defense, and alliance building. The Luzon Strait is no longer a backwater, it's a front line. The stakes for the Philippines and the region have never been higher. The Philippines' northern defense strategy throws a wrench into China's long-term ambitions. For years, Beijing counted on easy access through the Luzon Strait to project power into the Pacific. Now, fortified Philippine islands armed with modern missiles force Chinese naval planners to rethink their routes and timelines. The narrow strait, bristling with surveillance and defenses, is no longer a gray zone playground for China's Coast Guard and militia. Any aggressive move risks immediate detection and escalation. China must now divert resources to monitor and counter this new threat, complicating its force allocation and strategic planning. The Philippines has created a new front Beijing cannot ignore. The balance of power in the region is shifting. The Philippines' strategic shift is backed by a revitalized alliance with the United States. Under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, U.S. forces can access key northern bases, pre-position equipment, and rapidly deploy in a crisis. Washington has reaffirmed its security commitments, warning that attacks on Philippine forces could trigger a U.S. response. This support gives Manila the confidence to stand up to Chinese coercion. Joint exercises, like the annual Balikatan drills, are growing in scale and complexity, improving Allied readiness. The U.S. is also building a broader network, bringing in partners like Japan and Australia for trilateral and quadrilateral cooperation. This alliance acts as a powerful deterrent, amplifying the Philippines' own efforts and raising the stakes for Beijing. The American factor is a force multiplier in the contest for the South China Sea. The Philippines and the U.S. aren't alone in pushing back against China's assertiveness. Japan has become a key security partner, providing patrol vessels and signing agreements for joint training and access. This trilateral partnership with the U.S. forms a coordinated bloc of maritime democracies in the Western Pacific. Australia, too, is stepping up joint patrols and exercises, adding another capable military to the coalition. Even European powers like the UK, France, and Germany have sent ships to the region, signaling global concern for a free and open Indo-Pacific. These international efforts increase diplomatic pressure on Beijing and challenge its narrative that the dispute is purely regional. The South China Sea is now a global issue, with a growing coalition determined to uphold the rules-based order. China faces a more united and capable opposition than ever before. The Philippines' northern pivot and the expanding international coalition have upended China's playbook. Beijing's strategy of isolating and intimidating smaller neighbors is faltering as alliances strengthen. The fortification of the northern Philippines creates a southern pincer, threatening Chinese naval movements through the Luzon Strait. Combined with the capabilities of Japan and Taiwan to the north, China's access to the Pacific is now contested from multiple directions. Diplomatic and economic pressure has failed to break Manila's resolve. Instead, it has inspired others to resist. The Philippines' stance is a model for the region, showing that smaller states can push back. China now faces a web of interconnected security partnerships, minilateral groups like the US-Philippines-Japan Trilateral, the Quad, and AUKUS. Disputes can no longer be managed bilaterally. Any aggressive move risks a broader, more severe response. The strategic chessboard is more complex and dangerous than ever. The stakes for China and the region have never been higher. The South China Sea remains a critical and contested arena. China's campaign to dominate the region once seemed unstoppable, but the tides are shifting. The Philippines' northern pivot, backed by a revitalized alliance and a growing coalition, has changed the game. This is more than a tactical adjustment. It's a strategic reorientation that complicates Beijing's plans for both the South China Sea and Taiwan. The collective response from Manila, Washington, Tokyo, and others shows that smaller nations, when united and strategic, can deter coercion. The future is uncertain, and the risk of confrontation remains. But the Philippines' bold move proves that agency and alliances matter. The outcome of this contest will shape the region for years to come. The quiet islands of the Luzon Strait may yet decide the fate of the South China Sea.